Well, good morning, Empowered Soul Network. Again, another great day coming to you live from Greenville, South Carolina, where I'm connecting with family here. And it's great to be with you today. Got a lot of events happening over this next week. So I can't wait to have you meet Gina Kroezen. She is a health stylist. She's calling all the way across the Atlantic from Amsterdam. So welcome to the United States, Gina. Hope you're enjoying your travels over here, at least virtually. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
I'm Gina. I'm living in Amsterdam. I call myself a health stylist, and actually, I'm a holistic coach and gut health therapist. And I transform my own trauma and health challenges into knowledge, and that's something that I'm practicing last 10 years. Yeah.
Give me some ideas. What does it entail being a health stylist when you're connecting like that and interacting with people? What is the energy like for you with that?
Yes, some people come with innocent questions about their food, or they have intolerances, or they have migraines, or whatever lingering issue they have. And then we just started a very general talk about all experiences, all health experiences, and then mostly there come issues on the surface that they haven't thought about, that was still lingering on in their behavior, in their thoughts, in their convictions. And then it's more like the body is constantly under stress and they're not aware of it. So they act on everything that's stress related. So they're driven by stressors or triggered by stressors. And then the intentions of things that they're doing, whether it's work or relationships or whatever it is constantly pressured by that stress. And that has the effect on our body. So that makes people sick, and not just by thoughts, but the physiologic process that's going on inside of us. So that's what mostly comes to the surface. Yeah.
Hey, what would you say from your experience are some of the top stressors that begin to create? I know that even normal medicine now is saying that the mindset, the way people think and feel and hear, directly affects the physical body. Depression can lead to diabetes. They're connecting the dots with that. What have you found is some of the emotional mindsets and stresses that cause those physical things?
Yeah, it's the fear of rejection. It's all the common things. The not being loved enough, or a severe trauma that happened in childhood, or maybe a car accident, or losing a loved one. It doesn't matter. It's something that is going on inside somebody's here, but it's driven them to get certain thoughts about their life daily and how they look to themselves in the mirror, and then it starts mostly when they get out of bed, and it's something that we're not aware of. It's unconscious mostly.
Yeah.
And that causes thoughts, and thoughts causes feelings, and these feelings causes behavior, and then the circle goes around. Yeah.
The thoughts cause the feelings cause the behavior makes me eat, and then I have stress in my physical body.
But it's also, and that's what a lot of people don't know, is that the stress, the physiologic response asks for glucose. And there are a lot of things going on in our body that causes different chemical reactions, that causes that we behave differently, which can eventually lead to unhealthy behaviors. So it's not just escaping feelings, it's also chemicals that are steering us different directions.
It's a real body, mind, spirit kind of holistic balance, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's take care of all of it.
That's my approach also. That's why I call it body, mind, food connection, because you can eat healthy if you cannot digest it. it doesn't get absorbed and your body cannot use it. So your neurotransmission and your hormones get imbalanced. And if that takes ages or years or a short period, doesn't matter, something gets out of balance and it has this compound effect on other processes.
Yeah, it's amazing what we're discovering now about all of that. Yeah, our grandmothers and great grandmothers used to have all the natural remedies that we're now just going back and rediscovering. I know my grandmother osterized carrots and gave us a glass of carrot juice before we went. She put some could I admit cod liver oil in there so it didn't taste bad, and all those things are returning now. It's just fascinating to me. Take us on a little bit of what led you to this kind of work. What was happening for you in your life?
Oh, that's a lot. I started to struggle with my health when I was very young. I was born premature, so I missed the first 2 months of my life. I was in the incubator, so I had a bad immunity already. And then my mom left the family at the age of 8 when I was 8. So that was a very traumatic experience because she also left with another man and that became very violent and a lot of things happened. So I became more sick. I started to struggle with food. I got a eating disorder. And one thing led to another. So by the age of 31, I was really a mess. Let it put it to that. Yeah, I was a mess. And I tried every way possible to get out of it. I did manage to get out of my eating disorders on my own at the age of 29. And then at 31, I got this viral infection on my lungs and I nearly died from it. And that was my turning point. That was the moment I thought, okay, I have to find out what's really going on. Why am I constantly sick? Why am I feeling like an old woman? And how do I spend the rest of my life if I'm already this far behind compared to my friends and other people I know? Yeah.
So you actually hit to that point where there was a pretty strong choice.
Yeah.
When you began to make that choice, say, I don't want this, what was the definition of what you did want?
I just wanted to be happy. I wanted to be healthy. I wanted to have a choice to a different life. And in the environment that I was grown up in and I was raised, it was a toxic environment. So there was no safety. I had never ever feel this primary safety. So I was constantly afraid. There was anxiety. There was actually danger. So for me, everything on the other side was better. So, yeah.
And you really began when you were 31, you began to recognize that.
Yeah. I knew it before. I knew it before. Only you can know it, you can see it, but if you don't have the tools or the way that you know how to change it, because you're also the one family member in a big group who is different than the rest, and then you have to they see you as the betrayer, and you also love certain people because I love my mom, I love my dad, and all kind of stuff, but it's very hard to get those cords cut, and that was my biggest challenge at that point. But I did manage to do that.
When you were beginning when you began to cut the major cord of the past, and all of the things, what did it feel like to release that and cut that?
Yeah, at first it's feeling very lonely because you are on your own. You are then really on your own because you start to get a different connection with people. People don't understand what you are doing because they are judging you, and then you're floating on your own ship. And then I started to write my business plan. So I started to make new plans. And I also decided that happiness was a choice. I was convinced by my environment that happiness was not a choice, that happens to you or not. So that was one conviction I really turned around for myself. I only had to find out how. So that was my next step. And that took me a few years.
What would you say were some of the first steps to that how? How did you begin to do the how?
At first I started I started a new study. I seek help from a therapist. And that's the moment I also found out that I was not ill, I was not sick. I was suffering from PTSD and I never knew. And I had an ACE score of 8, I also never knew. So that was one part of my puzzle, because I always thought something was inherently wrong with me. And after that, she helped me to succeed with that study. And I don't know how it's called in the US, but we call it cum laude. Cum laude. I don't know. It's with the highest grade. So I passed my exam with the highest grade.
Laude.
Sorry?
Cum laude?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's high achievement.
Yeah. So my fear of not passing that exam was completely not the issue. And after that, 3 years after that, I got an assignment in Amsterdam to work after I wrote my business plan. And that was my real big step to make, to cut the cords. So I left my hometown in the south of Holland to Amsterdam, and I left everything behind. Yeah.
Do you remember back when you were writing the business plan, what the overriding mission statement was?
No, I just wanted to get out of there.
What would you say, or as you were, and this is really interesting because there's so many people that we interview here in Empowered Soul Network and in other groups that are colleagues that, they talk about the journey and the hope and the inspiration that they had. And there is that desire to want to help other people, so what were the top 2 or 3 things in your business plan that began to make it start to grow and form a little bit?
What I really was something that I always loved to do was to take care of other people. I was very, very caretaking. I was nourishing, and so that was my drive. And being a massage therapist and a rehabilitation trainer, I could make people better. So I could guide them to be better, to get their health back on track on a different level than I do now. But that was my main purpose when I started that business. Yeah.
So really wait, did you have that when you were a kid?
Yeah.
You always wanted to help other people? I find that the kids that they really they care for the well-being of the other kids around them.
Yeah, always.
They want to make sure everybody's safe, and secure, and it really carries forward, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, that was something that was probably in my DNA, or maybe it was something that I was taught to be. I don't know. I was always like that, but I was this high, like yeah.
Part of being the empowered soul. Start young, right?
Yeah.
So as you look back on your journey and what you've been through, what are some of maybe 1 or 2 highlighted accomplishments where it was just really unique and different, but you really helped? Do you remember an experience where it just really touched you, where the client was as they went forward?
Oh yeah, some woman. It's not that long ago. I think 2 or 3 years. She had also a bad connection with her mom, and so did I. And my mom died 5 years ago, and we managed to make amends in the last half year of her life. And this woman came to me for coaching, and she started telling me about her bad relationship with her mom, and she was actually convinced that she had to take her distance before she died and not to get too much involved. And after one session, she called me. I said, Gina, she said, Gina, I'm going to visit my mother. And I think it took more than a year before her mom died. And she texted me that she had such a beautiful ending, and that her mom even said to her, thank Gina for me. So it really, yeah, there is a lot of coaching sessions in between, but that was actually the way we worked towards that point. Yeah, that was beautiful.
So we're healing there.
Yeah, yeah.
And what's so cool about that story is that, from what I hear you saying, is that not only did it help your client, but it actually helped the people around your client.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
the
I get goosebumps when I tell it. Yeah, yeah.
The energy paid forward.
Yeah, because I also share my story with her. So I opened up to help her, and I explained her not everything, but a very big part of my story with my mom. And she was like, if you can do that, then I can do that too. I said, yeah, you only have to do that when you feel like doing it. And you're not doing it for her, you're doing it for yourself.
You know, the one of the questions that pops into my mind is, and I think a lot of coaches, healers, trainers, leaders can go through this. What's your insight on how to be authentic and vulnerable in yourself to tell your story, at the same time being the professional that is providing a service?
Mm-hmm. I be myself, because some people bring me to tears, and I will not cut that off. I just tell them that it touches me. And sometimes I have people that I really, not that it hurts me, but I feel for them, and I feel their pain. And so the tears will come, and I will just let it happen. And I will say it to them. It's just because I feel you. It's not that I cannot stand the way you're sharing a story, but it doesn't make any sense if you like that, I wouldn't feel safe with somebody who would be like that. I wouldn't share my whole story. So, and I think for me, it's the only way to connect in depth with people.
So then the service then goes how? When you've been vulnerable and been responsive to somebody like that, what's the step that, how do you start to find the solution to help the person?
We talk about it. What I will ask, what do you need from me now? With what can I help you at this point? It's not that I will say what we're going to do. I ask, what do you need?
Yeah.
It's not up to me to fill that blank in, to fill in that blank.
It's for a lot of, it's really a lot of coaching and healing is really holding the space for somebody to find their own answers, right?
Yeah, that's what coaching does. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've kind of rotated around it some, Gina, but if you were to look back in your career so far, what would you say has been your own personal growth in being of service to these people? Where has it brought Gina to?
Oh, wow. If I look back until 11 years ago, I was very hard on myself. I was very critical. So I think a lot of people always saw me also as this tough cookie who get everything done. And I was this overachiever myself. And I think the most valuable thing that I gained is to become a more soft person, towards myself.
More, did you say soft?
Yeah.
So, okay, yeah. Like more kind, more.
Yeah, softer. It doesn't always have to be this masculine woman. Yeah.
Do you find that also has built your own self-esteem and self-respect?
Yeah.
Could you talk about that a little bit too?
Yeah, because where I came from, My teacher at school when I was 8 or 9 years old already said nothing good would come out of me. So this seed was in my head for all my life. So I had to do my best for everything. And then all the other things that happened along the way confirmed that over and over again. So for me, it was when I started my own business and the first 7 years in Amsterdam, I really had a good, successful business. I was always working, not that it was healthy, but I did. I was constantly thriving with Olympic athletes, top athletes, artists. And then at that point, I started to notice that my value was more about what happened outside of me instead of inside of me. And that's something that really changed the last 11 years, that I was like, okay, I'm good at what I do. I have something to bring into this world. And that's the best thing you can get at that point. Yeah.
It's even self-respect, but it's also the acceptance of my self-worth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that where you find a lot of your clients end up with? Is it they just find more self-respect, more self-acceptance, more self-worth?
Yeah. Because I think when you have that, you take better care of yourself. My approach is always like also with unhealthy eating habits. And I think I'm allowed to say that because I was a wreck when I was young, not eating. And so I always say, if you really want the best thing for yourself, why would you eat garbage? Why would you stuff all this in your mouth when you say that you want the opposite? It's the same if I slap you, you will slap me back, but you're slapping yourself. Why do you do that? So
Wow.
At the point that somebody gets more self-respect and more self-esteem, they make that choice. I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel bad. I don't want to feel unhealthy, or I don't want to feel sick, or whatever it is. I have the choice to do not do that.
Yeah, I were with my granddaughters here this week, and so they love Harry Potter. And I actually said this on the video the other day about a master class we have coming up, and at one point, Professor Dumbledore says to Harry Potter, he says, "Harry, it's not your abilities that truly show who you are, it's your choices."
Yeah.
Isn't that a great quote?
Absolutely. But that's the truth, yeah.
It's our choices every moment, every day. Am I gonna have coffee? Am I gonna have water? Am I gonna do this? Am I gonna do that? You know, it's just what an amazing experience here on planet Earth, Gina.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Any parting words? This has been a wonderful session with you. I'm so glad we did this again. And any parting words? And please tell us how we can all get in touch with you too.
Parting words?
Any final things that you'd like to say to people as we wrap up?
Yeah, I hope that's something that I've said that made them reconsider certain things in their daily choices or daily life, and that there is always a way out of struggles, and it takes one little step to get to the next step.
Well, there you go, Empowered Soul Network. Gina Kroezen. I think I still got that right. I have to practice that. And Gina, how can we get in touch with you?
People can connect with me on Facebook, and I have a small growing Facebook group. They can also come in, and you can DM me on Messenger also. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, make sure when we do finish the live, you put those in the comments underneath, and I'll tag you and so on, so you can tag your friends. And stick around for just a minute. We'll touch base afterwards and wrap up. There you go, Empowered Soul Network. Have a wonderful day. Make sure you let people know about this interview so they can meet Gina. Wonderful, amazing, empowered soul calling in from Amsterdam, the Netherlands. Thank you, Gina.
Thank you. Bye.
Now.